Hey everybody, Marcos Villegas being joined here with the trainer of martirosyan, Edmond tarverdyan, where we're just a few days away from their matchup coming up May 5th at the StubHub Center, going up against Golovkin for all the middleweight titles. Edmond, man, this fight is going to happen this weekend, but it's a big challenge. But it kind of came out of left field in terms of what happened with the Canelo situation. For you, how does it feel to not only corner Vanes for this fight, but going up against a guy like Golovkin?
It's a great opportunity for us, you know. When we got the call, Vanes was in the gym, you know. Thank God he was in the gym training and he was working on a fight. The guy that fought Daniel Jacobs, you know, the last fight, Salaki. So we were in shape, you know. Then that fight fell through and Vanes was upset a little bit, you know. 2 days, we just took some rest, you know, till we figured out what's going on, and then we got this call for this Kennedy fight. So he's been in the gym, we're excited, you know. We've been working hard, we've been back together for 1.5 years already, signed with Don King, and, you know, he's been in the gym, he's in good shape, and we're ready to go on Saturday, you know. We're ready to shock the world, you know. It's a big puzzle. Of course, I've been a fan of Gennady Golovkin myself, and I've done some training camps up there in Big Bear with Rhonda over there, eh? And I watched Gennady train, spar a lot of hours I put in watching him, and he's a tremendous fighter, and, you know, everything that I've seen, all what, you know, we could capitalize on, I gave it to Vanes so he could, you know, shock the world that night on Saturday night.
Touching on that, what did you see in those training camps, and what have you seen most notably from that Canelo fight do you feel can work given Vanes' style?
Yeah, I'm not going to look at one fight and try to, you know, just look at last fight and it was a draw. I think that Gennady did win that fight against Canelo, but Canelo is a 154-pounder, you know, is not that big of a guy, and he did good. You know, he had his moments, I think, you know, when they traded off some shots inside, Gennady didn't feel as comfortable, and Gennady had a better jab. I think Gennady won that fight with a jab. You know, if you take Gennady's jab away, he was missing his right hand all night, and it didn't look that good, and Canelo was making him miss, you know, tremendously. That right hand of Gennady is very powerful, very dangerous, but he couldn't take off after the jab, you know. So that was a good thing that Canelo did. You know, they had a good game plan. He moved very well, and I think if he engaged a little bit more, he could have even been victorious, you know. But the jab was effective. Gennady connected a lot of jabs. So, you know, we stay away from that jab. Vanes moves way better than Canelo. I believe Vanes is a better boxer than Canelo, you know. So he has a better amateur pedigree if you look at it. And you know, Vanes is lanky, tall. Vanes doesn't need to set to punch. You know, he's a great counter puncher, and Vanes could move and counter punch all night. You know, he doesn't need to set to punch. Gennady sets to punch because he wants to engage big power punches at most of the times when he throws punches. So, you know, his hand speed compared to Vanes is the quicker guy in there. So, you know, we have a good game plan. I don't want to give it away, but, you know, Vanes is going to look good in there Saturday night.
Vanes has said, I think last week he said that he wants to go in there and feel Gennady's punches, go right to him and fight. Had a lot of us wondering, like, well, maybe that's not the best way to approach a guy who's naturally bigger and who's that big of a puncher. Is he just saying that for the cameras, or you as a trainer, when you hear that, you're like, no, Vanes, like, you gotta move in box?
No, I like the confidence, you know, I like the confidence. Every fighter I've trained, you know, world-class, world champions like Victor Chinyan never knew how to go backwards and fight, and Ronda too moves forward all the time and fights. So the champions I've had, they love to bang it out and go forward, you know. So Vanes wants to get in there and really feel Gennady's shots. I said, that's fine, you know, but you got to be smart on your defense, you know. Doesn't matter how much you want to feel the shots, you know. You want to accept the shots on your arms and on your hands, but Gennady does punch hard, you know. So if we can make him miss, make him pay, we're going to have a shorter night that way. So he knows what he's saying. He's motivated, excited, and he wants to show that he's not afraid of Gennady's power. And, you know, if time comes he has to stand in there and trade off some shots, he could do that, because when we watched Canelo getting inside and letting his hands go, he did get the best of Gennady, I think, when they went toe-to-toe at times. But he chose not to do that as much. He chose to move around and, you know, stay a little bit passive, not as aggressive, and he wanted to balance the war, I would say, and he balanced it pretty well. But I think that he wasn't ahead. I don't know how they, in the corner, how they had it, you know, planned out and how they count those rounds, and they were very calm and thought that the decision could go their way. Sometimes when you watch fights on TV, you know, you see some something different. So I watched it on TV, and sometimes on TV you don't see the clean, hard shots that you could count as a judge. You know, when you're in the corner, you want to count the clean, nice blows. You know, so Gennady's jab maybe wasn't as clean and as hard. So that's why when Canelo took off and hit him with great shots, those shots were more attractive when you watch live. So that's why I understand why the judges had it, just like the Marquez-Pacquiao fight. When I watched it live over there in the third fight, I thought that, you know, Marquez definitely won the fight because he landed the cleaner blows, and I thought that's it because the odds were 7-1. I was like, what the hell? First fight you get a draw, and then you go 7-1 on the third fight. Like, how do you make those odds? So I was like, there's something wrong here. So I thought that definitely Marquez won the third fight, but when we went, I walked away from the arena. I had front row seats. Pacquiao gave me and Vanes front row seats, and when I was going up, they said Pacquiao won the fight. But when you come and watch it on TV, all those light shots that Pacquiao throws, you know, he puts on volume, he lets his hands go more. You think they're connecting, but when you watch it live, it wasn't really bugging Marquez at all, and Marquez was landing cleaner blows. So that's why I understand why over there I felt like Marquez won. But when I came home and watched it, I was like, oh, they could give it to Pacquiao too for this reason. You know, because he let his hands go a bit more. So watching it live is different a little bit. Watching on TV is different. That's why you get your, you know, the way the camera is angled off and the way they record those fights,
with what you're saying then, is there a worry or a concern about going 12 rounds, that you'll get a fair shake, given that Gennady's the power puncher and Vanes might be touch?
Yeah, you're letting your hands go. It's very important. You know, judges are very important because there's people that I say accent shots, power shots. Why? Because it's so you could feel different. Accent means when I'm speaking English, if I have an accent in my word, you'll be like, what the hell did you say, Edmond? So that's my Armenian accent. So I call it accent punches. Why? Because it has to be different. You have to feel those shots. You have to see those shots, cleaner blows. And that's what they count in the Olympic Games. It's not what you just throw out there. It's what connects, and it's a efficient, you know, nice punch. So Gennady does try to engage beautiful shots, and Vanes is going to let his hands go as well. But, you know, we have a smart game plan. We're not going to let Gennady's jab get to us. You know, if you take away Gennady's jab, I think he's not going to be looking as good as he is, you know. And a lot of people, if you watch when he connects the jab, they feel his power because he has a very tremendous jab, a powerful jab. He puts all, you know, weight into his punch, and he showed me that jab himself when I was working up in Big Bear, you know, when they gave me the gym to train Ronda, and I went and watched.
So you got like a lot of secret info on him then, huh?
He puts a lot of pop into that jab, and he puts accent, I would say, into that jab, and he opens his right hand up fully all the way, and he squeezes his left hand all the way, and he matches the shot. He loves to engage at the same time. So, you know, we're smart. We're smart. We know what we're going to do, and Vanes we have a good game plan. I mean, a lot of people do. I've seen, I watched a lot of footage, even Daniel Jacobs, when he was fighting, the trainer did a tremendous job, I would say, and I watched his trainer's advice, and he had a great game plan, I believe, and I forget his name, but he...
Andre Rosier.
Yes, Spence Jr. trainer. He did very, very good and good game plan, but to execute the game plan, it's not easy because Gennady does make adjustments himself as he fights in between the rounds, and if he needs to add the jab, more jabs, he does more jabs. If he needs to go to the body to slow you down, he goes to the body. He's a very intelligent fighter. He's a silver medalist in the Olympic Games, reigning world champion in the amateur, you know, fight. So this he has everything. It's not that he's just a, you know, professional fighter that, you know, turned out to be a great pro because of his punching power. You know, it's not that. The guy knows how to box. He knows how to move. He knows how to set you up, you know, take the fight where he wants it to be. So I've told all this to Vanes. Vanes knows who he's going up against, and Gennady is a great fighter, but every fighter, I believe, has their time of losing, and every fighter is beatable. There's not a fighter out there that is invincible and not beatable. I believe that the last 3 fights, Gennady has been having good challenges, and you know, Vanes is going to do the same. I think he's going to give him a hell of a fight, and he's going to come out victorious if Vanes stays on the game plan.
Does it go 12 rounds in your opinion, or do you see it ending in a stoppage?
Listen, a happy fighter is a very dangerous fighter. Vanes is very happy, so when you have a fighter like that against a great fighter like Gennady Golovkin, anything could happen. Is because I think it's very exciting, because, you know, the way Vanes speaks already, you guys, everybody sees that there's a lot of excitement behind it, so it could be a big, crazy fight, and both of them could punch. I believe Vanes has a great punching power because he doesn't need to set to punch. punch. He could punch you when he's moving, and it could be a crazy knockout. You know, he could drop you. And fighting at 160 Vanes, I believe that it's a good thing for him, because he doesn't have to get so drained, and he's going to keep his punching power better, and he's going to feel comfortable in there, moving better, and he's going to have a hell of a night. So anything could happen, but you know, I believe that Vanes could win this fight, definitely. You know, I'm not going to go in there thinking that my fighter is not ready, or we don't have a good game plan to beat Gennady. We definitely do, and I've seen the fighters that have sparred with Gennady when Gennady has a bit of a difficulty, and I think that styles make fights, and Vanes is a style of fighter that will give him the difficulty.
Did a good job of selling a lot of people from what you said and stuff. You made Gennady seem normal, and you have a lot of information on Gennady as well. I can't wait for the fight. It's a big matchup. On an ending note, Edmond, where does this stack in terms of the fights you've been a part of? Because is this the biggest challenge you feel?
Yeah, you know, of course, if somebody's...
You've been a part of a lot of big fights.
A lot of big fights. I think that when a fighter is undefeated, that fighter is on the radar. I believe that Vanes has been looking to fight somebody like Golovkin way longer than Golovkin has been looking to fight Vanes. I don't think Golovkin, in his mind, all these years as he's been a champion, he's been thinking about that one day he might fight Vanes. So, but Vanes has been always watching him. I wish I could fight him. You know, I think I could beat him. And when we watched the Canelo fight, Vanes was like, I could beat him. You know, I could move better than Canelo. I could box better than Canelo. So Vanes has had in his mind that one day maybe I could go up to 160 and challenge Golovkin. And he's watched Golovkin every time and learned something even from him, from his fights. But Gennady hasn't done that. So I think when you're up there, there's a lot of people from down below watching you try to come and beat you, and that's very dangerous. And Vanes has been doing that, but Golovkin hasn't been thinking about Vanes. So Golovkin might have his hands full on Saturday, man. I'm telling you, these are the fights that are exciting.
Edmond, man, thank you so much. Good catching up with you. In the corner of his man, Vanes Martirosyan, who takes on Gennady Golovkin for all the middleweight world titles this Saturday at the StubHub Center on HBO.